The lives of so many people changed after the September 11th attacks. In a story you'll only see on WHSV, Morgan Donnelly, she traveled to New York to share what it was like that day for many people living in and near New York City.
That's right, Channing. Actually, 13 years ago, I lived in a small town called Manhasset, New York, which is about 30 minutes outside of the city. For the first time since graduating from St. Mary's Elementary School, I traveled back to share with you what September 11th means to me and my community.
St. Mary's Elementary School in Manhasset, New York has changed a lot in 13 years.
This is Mrs. Williams.
This is one of the hallways I walked, and now all the classrooms look different. Most of my teachers have retired, and the gym I used to play in has been replaced with this new one. But the school started changing long before I left. It started at 8:46 on a Tuesday morning in September of 2001. It was a beautiful day with blue skies that quickly turned gray.
This was my old classroom. Look at that.
My homeroom teacher, Dr. Liz Robb, was standing at her classroom door when she got the news.
The second plane had hit, and my mother was saying, the first plane, it might have been an accident, but the second plane, this is not good.
Miles away, life came to a standstill.
And this is really like our Pearl Harbor. This is really something I'm never going to forget.
As for me, the day continued. I was in math class, and the biggest problem facing me was the one on the paper in front of me. But soon, the biggest problem for my classmates and me was the unknown.
One of the mothers came to pick up her child, and she was crying and saying the tower fell. And I remembered the secretary saying, there's no way the tower could fall.
Many of our parents worked in the city. My mother was one of them. The teachers didn't leave. To us, it was like nothing was wrong. As people raced down the streets in New York City to get to Ground Zero, I climbed the stairs on my way to lunch and recess. Around 1:30, though, the school and community I remember changed forever.
Parents were coming up in droves to pick up their kids. And then Erin Murphy saying to me, my daddy works at the World Trade Center. Do you think he's okay? And I was like, it was the hardest question I ever had as a teacher.
When I think of September 11th, I don't remember planes or the sound of a siren. I remember walking into the school gym with my teacher, Dr. Robb.
And I just remember Dr. Chekia standing up saying, 2 planes have crashed in the World Trade Center. Don't tell the younger kids. But it was, these are who we've heard from. This is who we haven't.
It was the hardest news to tell us and almost impossible for us to understand.
To a 6th grader, a 7th grader, an 8th grader, how do you explain evil when it involves their parents? As an educator, that's way over my job requirement.
50 people from my town didn't come home that day.
When did you find out your mom was okay?
When I got home. The glass door was open.
Do you remember the smell the next day?
You just smelled jet fuel.
Yeah, it was bad. And I remember, I think when we finally all came back to school, we didn't want to have lessons, and I put on John Lennon's Imagine.
Yeah.
And we played that, and we did artwork.
Our feelings drawn out on blank pieces of paper, all of them tucked away in a binder Dr. Robb still has today at her home, a reminder of the heartache we endured. Dr. Robb doesn't teach at St. Mary's anymore. She left the year after we graduated.
Yes, I left teaching. It affected me so much.
She worked at Tuesday's Children, a September 11th organization which helps raise children like their parents would have. She also worked with the rescue workers, helping them get the medical care they needed.
Post 9/11, never been the same. Never.
13 years can change a lot of things, but one thing September 11th didn't change was the memories of our neighbors, parents, and friends living life in peace.
You know, today so many people held moments of silence today to remember those victims. And when I went back to school, I asked them, what do they do on September 11th? They said they'd say a prayer and they try to continue on as a normal day as if we would have on that day 13 years ago.
Very
so still
powerful.
a very, you know, in our tight community, still a big impact. But for a look at the artwork that Dr. Rob kept, or for more information about Tuesday's Children, an organization that actually helped some of my classmates and that they then became involved with, please log on to onlyonwhsv.com using your smartphone, tablet, or computer.